Welcome to the 5th episode of the Acl Podcast. My name is Yolanda Walker and I'm a director at Africa Construction Law. I'm also a partner at DWF. I'm very excited to be here in Paris with quite an incredible team that sits within the global construction company known as Eiffage. So it is with great pleasure that I'd like to introduce Emira Sadki, Elise Falliere, Gian Elali and Erati Zada. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Let's begin with you, Emira. If you'd like to just talk about your role and how you came to be in that role.
Okay. I had the opportunity and the chance to join Eiffage 18 years ago, but some among us have been there for even longer. And into the Energy System division, we will talk a little bit about how the Eiffage is organized. And that's quite an interesting challenge. Lots of projects, lots of opportunities, working into a multicultural team, multitask team also. And so that's the perfect reference to what we do every day.
Wow, 18 years, that's brilliant. And how about you, Elise?
I've been working with Emira even for the last 9 years almost. I was an in-house lawyer position, working in a multicultural environment for various projects is what I like to do. So I'm pleased to work with Eiffage and with Emira and the team as well.
And yeah?
I am the oldest then. Thank you for pointing that out, Emira. So I've been working with Eiffage since 2006.
Wow.
So 20 years this year.
Congratulations.
I started as a trainee.
Right.
I used to do sales at the export division of Eiffage for high voltage projects, especially in West Africa. Wow. What is interesting for me is that I have an African background because I was born and raised in Africa. So I never in Senegal. So I never saw myself working anywhere else than in Africa. I have a big love for Africa development. So Eiffage is providing me with the opportunity to work and see the continent evolve and grow. And for several years now, I manage the export finance division. So I will put together all the financing for the projects that require that.
Wow. Okay. And last but not least, Erati.
Hi, so I joined Eiffage 13 years ago, even though it feels like yesterday. And I began as an EPC project manager for Africa. Also, because of my African background, I didn't see myself working elsewhere. I wanted to make myself useful for the African continent. And I started working with Emira and Elise. And now I'm in charge of the BSS division for Europe and Africa. So I still work for Africa, but not only.
Yes, a bit of Europe too.
Yes.
So enlighten me, are you all legally trained? So are you lawyers or?
Now I'm export finance. I used to be sales.
Okay.
My legal training is with Emira. She taught me everything.
And how about you, Erati?
My background is as an engineer, actually.
Engineer?
Yes.
Amazing.
I'm an engineer, in fact. And I've practiced as an engineer for 7 years at Eiffage before I changed for a sales positions. So my legal training is right here in this room, thanks to these women.
So Elise and Emira, you are the lawyers.
Yes.
But together you have so much experience in this industry for leading projects.
Altogether, we'll each one of us learn something to the other. And it's true that we are part of something, not relying, of course, on our academic training, but for example, before entering Eiffage and before entering the energy system or working with Gian and Erati, I didn't know anything about high voltage. And that's important to share what we know and to try to offer and build all together the best projects for the company, but also for each one of us, because we put lots of energy into it. And as you have seen, we have had some many opportunities within the group, enabling us to do today what we are doing all together.
Well, that is clear that you are a really good team already. And lovely to see. So let's talk a little bit about Eiffage, the company. It's a complex company. There are many branches.
So Eiffage really starts to exist as Eiffage in 1993. The name itself, Eiffage, but all the companies and the main companies being the core of Eiffage, they have been existing for first half of 19th century. So it was mainly Fougerolles, Curie, and SAE in French. But since 1993, it has totally changed. And of course, we have different division, contracting and concession, and Elise will say a word. But for example, just the group we belong to, the division energy we belong to, it has so totally changed since. Even if we start only 15 years ago, for example, the turnover, we were around, I don't know,
3.5, I would say.
And now it's all about 8, and so many different locations in Africa, but also in Europe. So we have stayed for long in this company, but it's not the company we enter into.
Yeah.
It's been evolving, and also we've been evolving with the company.
Yes.
It has changed a lot, and we are still learning and entering into new business every day.
Yes,
Is the pace of change quite quick? Are you noticing it gradually in terms of
Quick.
I would
The
say
last
it's
20 years have been quick, yes.
Yes, quite exponential even.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
like new markets every day almost, I would say.
Absolutely.
Which means in your experiences, new challenges that you're facing
Definitely,
in terms
that's
of the
what
project work.
also makes
Nothing is
the
boring.
working.
So I met you, I think, 2 years ago, and as a team, and you're the same team. And when we spoke 2 years ago, it was immediately apparent to me that you as a team do a lot of work in Africa. So let's talk more about Eiffage in Africa and what you do in Africa.
Yeah, so Eiffage is divided in 4 branches, 4 divisions, concession, and then we have 3 branches in contracting, which is construction, infrastructures, and our branch, the one we belong, is the energy system. And actually, all of the divisions of Eiffage works or worked in Africa at some point. So not necessarily on the same level, like energy system and infrastructure, they have more projects now, and they had more projects in the past in Africa. But all of the divisions worked in Africa for, like, it's not something new for Eiffage to work in Africa. We have been in Senegal for like almost a century, more than a century, I think.
100 years this
Yes, this
year.
year, I think,
Eiffage
yes,
Senegal,
actually.
yes.
So it's not something new for us to work in Africa, and mainly in West Africa as well, but also in other parts of Africa, more like Ghana. It's a bit like,
Ghana, 40 years.
Yes.
Okay. And so, Gian Erati, what about some of the projects that you've been working on?
Eiffage footprint in the continent relies in projects that contributes to the development. So projects in pure construction, roads, bridges, hospitals, but also in energy, you have dams, solar plants, electricity lines. For example, we've been working for the past few years in Senegal in the Ferlo region, and we've been building the backbone of the network there, but also bringing electricity to the last mile. It means until the user of the electricity, the Senegalese user of the electricity. And this project have been going for more than 5 years. We've been deeply involved with the communities, with the governments, I mean, every aspect of the Senegalese life. And another project I can give you is, for example, the Tema Port in Ghana, an English-speaking country. We are not only in French-speaking countries. So in Ghana, this project is interesting because it's been a synergy between 2 branches of Eiffage, the infrastructure branch and the energy branch. So one of the branch, infrastructure one, have been building the, namely the port, and the other one has brought electricity to the port. And it's been a fruitful collaboration. It's something to be proud of, to imagine that when something arrives in Ghana, it's also thanks to us through this port, which is the main interest in the country. And at last, I'll be back to Senegal again. It's the one where we are the most present for more than 100 years. I'd like to talk about the Wallow storage project because it's a project with so much innovation, and implementing new technology. So it's not only in Europe that we implement new technology, also in Africa. This project has been the first one to implement solar batteries for the network in the country, but one of the biggest also in West Africa, and one of the first. And it allows the grid to benefit from stability. It brings stability to the grid. It also allows new functions that didn't exist before, like frequency regulation, peak shaving from PV plants, black start. Sometimes you have shortages of electricity. It allows you to restart your network without consequences. And it allows also islanding functioning. You may have shortages of electricity, but a region can still function on its own and allow the people not to be impacted.
This is the Wallow PV plant, which has the lithium storage, battery storage.
Yes, battery and PV actually, but it's
Yes,
the first time we've been implementing batteries with our solar plants in Senegal.
So the combination is giving the stability so if there's shortages, you still have a constant in its place. Is that how it works?
Yes.
And it's also improving the quality of your energy, because sometimes you have sun, but you have no need for the electricity produced.
Right. Yeah.
So then you store it and you release it when it's the most useful.
Okay.
And it's actually when there's no sun, when people go back to their homes. So thanks to the batteries, you do not lose this electricity.
You do not waste it.
You do not waste it, exactly.
And shortage is very important. Just have a look on what happened in Spain, in Los
Yes.
Patrios.
So shortage is a subject for everyone.
Yes. And then you add to that the benefits of it being cleaner energy from the solar part. Can we just go back to the port? So that was the expansion of the port, again, to enable more imports, exports from Ghana, from West Africa, and actually modernizing it, bringing it into, in line with modern tech and whatnot. Then also, I know you touched on the furlough project. I read that in addition to doing the electrical part of the project, there was a school nearby in a village in Pampi. Is that correct?
Pampi is the Poulard village, Pearl in French. And they were actually in an area where we were supposed to do works, and we were supposed to destroy part of the school and rebuild it afterwards. But when we saw the actual state of the school, we couldn't just leave them like this. So we actually rebuilt the full school and brought them electricity, water, and also equipment. So that's really something that we are all very proud of. It wasn't in the budget, in the initial budget. We did that because we were touched by those kids, by those children that were impacted by the project. So now they actually have been beneficiating not only from the electricity, but also from everything that has been built. From Eiffage team in Senegal. The decision came from the people working in Senegal, our local Senegalese people.
Yeah, I really love that. I mean, when we started this conversation, you both said one of the reasons you're at Eiffage and what you've always wanted to do is work for the continent, give back to the continent. And not only are the projects that you're doing that, but when you add not little side projects like that, which have such an impact on, how many children that are now going to a school that's not dilapidated and actually has facilities that enable education, I think is amazing. Gian, any other projects that we can talk about?
There are several ones that require that we work in several countries with one contract.
Wow.
Thanks to Emira and Elise, we were quite successful.
Yeah.
The first one that is the oldest is the interconnection for the evacuation power for the Manantali Dam, which is in Mali and provided energy for Mauritania, Senegal, and Mali at the time.
Wow.
After we worked on the Côte d'Ivoire, Sierra Leone, Liberia, Guinea transmission project. We worked also on OMVG, which is Organisation de la Mise en Valeur du Fleuve Guinée. I think we built 15 substations, high voltage substations, also involving 4 countries. 11? Sorry. So we built 11 substations involving 3 countries. The overall projects that involved 4, but we worked in 3 of them. And the last one is the interconnection between Ghana and Burkina. It was quite difficult as well because Ghana has a tension.
English norm system.
British system,
Right.
electricity British system.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
That is different than the French one. That
In Burkina.
Yeah.
So we had to connect two different systems together.
Yes.
Wow. So this
Yeah.
is the
We had-
engineering side coming
No,
out
I mean,
right
she's
now.
the engineer. They have the legal. I was only.
So, for example,
I
in
knew my
Ghana,
clients. That's all. I have a
in
client,
Ghana,
no.
it was 330 kV, I think,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
in Burkina, it was 225. So the
Yes.
equipment design were different, and we still had to interconnect them.
Wow.
If I can say something funny, I remember at the time, the line was the substation was in this village called Bolgatanga, and there was a sacred tree. So we had to build the substation around the
the tree.
sacred tree without
Wow.
moving it.
So it's a sacred tree, I imagine, is still there.
It is, of
Yeah.
course.
Wow. Gosh. So
So-
that's the thing, isn't it? When you operate in different jurisdictions, they have different customs, different
Sure.
traditions.
And we have
And-
to adapt.
Yeah,
to every-
each
each jurisdiction, each custom.
Yeah.
And sometimes you discover it. You won't discover it until you are actually on site.
Yeah. Yeah.
Working in Africa is very humbling because it teaches you that not everybody is like you, even between Senegal
Yes.
and Ghana.
Yeah. Well,
Sure.
between Ghana
Between
and Nigeria.
exactly, between Senegal and Gambia. Gambia is within Senegal.
Yeah,
It's very
yeah.
different.
Yeah.
So it's very humbling, and you need to learn to respect people and work with them and be in a win-win strategy rather than, I'm coming, I'm the EPC contractor, I'm so smart.
Yeah.
And
I know what I do.
Yeah, I know what's
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's very nice.
We learn way more than we think
Yes.
Yes.
we could have brought.
Yeah. You were mentioning one contract, 3 countries.
Yeah.
So you are having one project, one point of contact in terms of the client.
Yes.
And
3 countries.
3
I think it was
countries.
4 or 5 multilateral funding,
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
which means different specs, not specs, but
Technical
not technical specifications, but
Requirements.
employer
requirements.
requirements.
Yes.
Yes.
That's
Very-
a lot to attack at in one project.
And different currencies because in Guinea you don't have the CFA franc.
Yeah.
Of course, we were paid in euro, but we had to manage also the difference between euro and Guinea, franc guinéen, as a risk cover,
Yes,
for the currency.
It could be immediate depreciation.
In Guinea at the
and-
time, now it's better, but in Guinea at the time, where most of the substations were politically, it was unstable. So we work in a difficult environment.
Which means regulations can change and
Yes,
have many
of
different
course.
jurisdictions.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes, so
Yeah. Wow.
It's not that it can change, it changes.
So let's talk
Yes.
about what do you do then when this happens, when you're confronted with things like regulatory changes on the ground in one of the countries you're operating, or even 2 out of 3 of them.
we call Emirat. And then you sit and talk with your client.
Yeah.
We have that chance is that we are able to quietly sit, talk, and we have receptive clients. And like I mentioned before, we are in a win-win relationship with them. Our substations and lines, they quality-wise, they can live for tens of years. So our clients are quite happy with our work. So
I think that's really important,
They
having
recommend us.
that
Yes.
relationship, isn't it, with your
And we
client.
still have the same clients for decades. They want the sustainability that we offer.
Yeah. And it sounds like you're upfront with the challenges that you face as you face them. So you have that conversation directly and openly at the time. You mentioned that your role, Arati, has moved towards Europe. What are the different factors between your projects in Europe vis-a-vis your projects in Africa? What are the challenges that you face, if any? And well, we've talked about some regulatory reform, currency risk. What else?
The currency volatility is an issue because we get paid in a currency, but we have suppliers, we have expenses in a different currency, and it can evolve from the moment you're paid to the moment that you use this money. This can severely impact your product profitability. So this is a factor quite important. It can change your financial model, especially for a project with international multilateral funding agencies. What else? The logistics and supply chain. I mean, for example, when we had the COVID crisis, the costs of transport exploded. But you can also have some internal conflict, political conflict. And the area you're working may not be accessible anymore. You can also have some ports that are supposed to be well equipped. Then you discover that they are underdeveloped logistics infrastructure that need to be updated, which is not in your budget, nor in your client's budget. But you still have to find a solution. And you can also have, with the political changes, some duties evolution. Is it
custom
up to
duties?
Custom duties, exactly. Custom duties evolution. Is it up to your client? Is it up to you? Depends on what you have in your contract, but also depends on the relation that you have with your client. So all that are matters that we have to deal with on a day-to-day basis when we work in Africa.
And from a legal point of view, of course, we are focused when we first identify a project about the some political stability, the safety, because that's main important. That's maybe the first important point to be checked. The safety of the team we're gonna send, of the team we're gonna employed locally, because we have this strong, as Gian has said, this strong involvement in the countries and tradition in the countries we are working for. And of course, you know, when you have an in-house working for this kind of project, okay, you say change of law. Okay, so of course you assess the situations and the clause, but of course we know that we're going to have to deal, especially this project that we lost for years, not only because of the COVID, because it's longer than a project in Europe, even if in Europe we have also some difficulty.
There is
some instability and some change of law.
Europe isn't easy.
Also, but I will add that we do not have only to take into consideration the client. We also have to deal with the members of the consortium when we have some. And their consideration, the law they have to comply with, all the subcontracting part also, and it's all the scheme of contract. But the point is that if you try to do it only from the legal point of view, at the end of the day, we will not do anything. So we all gather and we take the decision, trying to take into account almost everything. But the point is that we are a company, so we have to take some risk, more reasonable as possible, from the most reasonable possible. But we are lucky also, maybe, or talented a bit. Yes.
I would say the relationship with suppliers is not the same as well when we work in Africa than in Europe. Like lately, they raised some issues that they didn't have before. I have some in mind, but I won't tell. But it's not exactly the same discussion that we have with suppliers for when we work in Africa than in Europe, but also because we don't actually work with the same subsidiaries. Like usually in Europe, we work with the suppliers that are implemented in Europe. We go further when we work in projects in Africa, so we also have another like cultural background to take into account other than the cultural background of the country we are going to work with into.
It sounds like relationships, whether it's with your subcontractors, your subconsultants, or with your client, are key when working in Africa. And then we've just touched on change of law. But there are known risks, and you manage and mitigate those risks as much as you can on paper and in the contracts. And then you're on the ground, and sometimes relationships are tested. I think you must have quite good relationships with governments.
Essentially, our clients are utilities, most except for developers in your domain in the battery storage.
They can be private IPPs.
They can be private IPPs, but in general, they are utilities, so they depend on their Ministry of Energy. Of course, the projects that we will be building are going to be priority projects for them. So we will need to know which ones are more important for them before we decide that we will put our energy in this project or in another project. So of course, we will need to know what is required in the country for the network to work, what is important for our clients. So yes, we will have a close relationship with the governments. close relationships with the utilities and the local communities as well, because we work in different areas, not only the capitals. People, when they see a new project being implemented, they will want to be employed, because people are very brave. They want to work. They do not count their hours. They do not count working day and night. Of course, we respect the hours, but they want to learn and they want to work. That is what I saw. And so we will employ the people in the community. We will not go and bring somebody from somewhere, and we will train them. We have people that we have been working with, that we have trained, and that are now team managers, and they come with us on each project, and they've been working with us for 30 years now, and they themselves train other people, yeah.
So you have expats that go in as well.
Few.
But you provide jobs for local.
Yes. And training. Yes.
And training.
Yes.
For local, there are 3 ways of employment on the project. We have expatriates, but there are very few. 95% will be either from the local communities or from neighboring sub-Saharan countries, where we have already been working, and then we've been bringing them with us in every country we've been working. So we brought some Senegalese people to Guinea, to Ghana. We've brought some people from Benin to Sierra Leone, to Togo, to Burkina. So we make them travel, but still you won't have more than 5% expatriate. We prefer, and we are very passionate about the fact that we want to transfer the competencies and we want to keep them in the continent.
Yeah, I love that, the capacity building within the continent, and then they're not just perhaps then able to work for you as an organization. The country has that. How much training have you provided to local workers that then can use that on other projects, but also stay with you on your journey around Africa? It's a lovely story to be part of. It's one that is kind to Africa, which I'm all for. So let's move on a little bit to ESG and Africa. I feel like ESG is something as in the West that is certainly globally we're talking about, and there must be a significant pressure on you as a company to incorporate ESG within all of your projects, and your projects in themselves are very much geared towards that. How do you adopt that in your projects or ensure that that is something that is carried through?
For the group generally anyway, ESG is very seen as a competitive advantage. It's always been something that is like part of the identity of the group, but it's really something that I believe is really implemented in the way we work. And especially for the projects in Africa, we have like checklists to check the impact on environment, on health and safety, on the social also impact of the project. And in the last years, we also saw that even our clients are more demanding to see like that we work with them on these issues. Yeah. So I think it's really, again, a win-win situation for everyone to work with that in mind.
Taking ESG, there comes with that financial pressure sometimes as well in terms of margins and whatnot. Yes. And then when you add to that working in Africa, funding is complicated, very complicated. And often you have multiple sources. How do you find the funding for your projects impacts the outcome, and how do you deal with that? Is it a challenge?
It's all very easy and fun. No, I'm joking. No, there are at the beginning, 20 years ago, what I saw, what I was working on at the time, it was only concessional loans, multilateral DFIs funded projects. World Bank coming in, having worked 10 years before, issue a call for bids. You bid, finish, and then you win, you don't win, bye-bye, next one. Now, African economy is more sophisticated. African ministries of finance don't want to depend only on concessional loans because it takes a lot of time, because they are dependent on IMF and World Bank for their financial frameworks and etc., but not only. So they seek various financing resources. So they do PPPs that will leverage private capital for efficiency. PPPs are very efficient for large-scale projects where you can collect the revenues easily. It's easier to collect money from a toll road or kilowatts from a dam than water from the people house by house.
Yes,
okay,
yeah.
so they will be more directed to those type of projects. You will have also these concessional loans, or also multilaterals and DFIs. They will also bring in some political risk insurance for some private financiers, for example, that want to invest in the countries, like MIGA did recently. Private banks brought in, I think, $500 million, something like that. And MIGA brought in a political risk insurance and a financial insurance for these banks that invested in these bonds, the Ivory Coast bonds, which is quite innovative. With Bird, I think it was a MIGA Bird joint insurance. Also, the governments now will also more and more use their debt to invest, and they will seek some export finance and stuff like that. Export finance is quite efficient because it can be implemented very faster than concessional loans, but it is a constraint to the debt of the country, so they have to manage that and mitigate that.
Yeah. Is there an easier setup within those options you've just described? Or I noticed the PPP is something that Africa's doing a lot of at the moment, because, as you say, there's that one, it's easier to pay back through the use of the asset at the end. Does the type of financing and the type of stakeholder influence project delivery in any way?
PPPs, I think you can add to it later, I'm sure, because you are working on providing bids for the developers more than me. But PPPs will want projects to start and to finish very quickly, because they want to start cashing.
Yeah.
They will need a legal framework in the country that is very strict. They will need no political risk in the country. They need the government to provide maybe exemptions of tax, etc., etc. Like concessional loans as well, they will do that. They will require that. But since PPPs, they have a return on investment that they need, they will want the projects to move fast, and the pressure is on the EPC.
Sure.
The pressure is always on the
So it's felt
EPC.
a lot
Okay?
more. Yeah, it's true.
Always. A concessional loan, well, they have more time, and they have more time, which means that for us it's a little bit difficult because it's call for bids, international call for bids. So sometimes you are in competition with the Indian, Chinese, Turkish. But when they budget the project, they budget it 10 years before the project is issued. So when you start bidding, then the inflation and the price is different. So complicated.
Very.
The whole landscape changes between
So
the time the project is designed in the lender's minds and between this time and the time when it's supposed to be built, everything changes, but they won't adapt.
Yeah.
And they expect the EPCs to adapt.
Yes, and they have the time.
All risk on the EPC.
All
All the
on
time.
the EPC.
And for the EPC contractor, also one legal issue we are currently facing is the clause related to rejection. So if you miss commercial operation date, or if you do not reach performance expected for the business plan to succeed more than 100%, they ask the EPC contractor to bear the risk of full rejection, and sometimes that's definitely unbalanced.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the last one, the export finance scheme, or when there is this, when the government brings in debt to finance a project, we can work on single source, which means, of course, we will benchmark our contracts. We are not going to overprice, because our project can be benchmarked very easily. So for the client, there's no risk on the price. We need to work hand by hand with the client to do the financial deal and closure.
Yes.
So
Wow.
we
That's
work.
different.
That's
Yeah.
a different type of
It's,
structure.
Yeah.
way more work before the construction, like the design part.
Yeah, we work.
For the
Yes, we will
basic
sometimes
basic
invest in the
contractor,
environmental and social
Yes.
assessment plan because we want we want the project to move forward.
So you know your markets very well and your structures very well and where the risk lies. Let's look ahead to the future for Eiffage. Where do you see the greatest growth opportunities for Eiffage in Africa over the next 10 years?
One thing is sure, one of the strengths of the continent is the demography. So the growth potential, in my opinion, lies in sectors driven by demography. So namely, energy transition and renewable.
Yes,
More
yeah.
people, more needs for energy. So we will need to be there and develop the immense potential for solar, for wind, for hydropower all over the continent. And African nations are leapfrogging traditional energy models. So we can directly address climate goals, innovative technologies to answer the huge demand that will come. Another sector driven by demography is the urban development. So cities will grow. It's a natural move to go towards urbanization. So it demands significant investment in housing, in roads, in water, in sanitation. We need to be very upstream and work on sustainable development plans with the governments and propose what's already implemented, for example, in Europe, or even test some innovative solutions for, low carbon concrete, for example, that we can implement. And the last sector is, we cannot forget about that, the digitalization. We are entering the digital era, and Africa has been entering it faster than any other continent.
Yeah.
People have been going from having almost no electricity to having a phone and to being connecting to having two phones sometimes and to being connecting to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
So it means what? It means telecom infrastructures. It means also energy to convey all that information. It also means building data centers to store all those information. And we won't store in Australia something related to Africa. So let's stay local and build that locally. So that's what we feel will drive the next, at least the next decade, even and maybe even more.
Yeah. I love what you say about leapfrogging it. The infrastructure gap has been so large for Africa, but now it has a real opportunity to catch up almost.
Yeah, exactly. And to avoid the mistakes that have been done in the industrial European era. We have that return on experiment, so let's beneficiate from that.
Yeah. Talking about mistakes,
We've done none.
Never.
Amira, if you could change one thing about the operating environment in Africa to give rise or unlock greater value.
Something that we cannot change, but that's kind of a dream. I had a dream. I had a dream of more safety and local stability, but it's not relying on me, and it's not relying on, unfortunately, anyone, not even the government. But I think that maybe enforcing the requirement about having a contractor more focused on being local and all the requirements regarding local training, what we do, of course. But that's that's really important for the country, for the continent, and it will, in my opinion, it is the only way to build something reliable and not having some contractor coming for let's do something, only project opportunity, very locally, very short time, and after we fly away, and whatever happened after, not our business.
So it's long term. It's for the long term. Capacity building for the long term. Well, look, thank you. I think you as a team are an incredible team, and as a business, work that you're doing is you're investing, your true meaning of investing in Africa in more than one way. So thank you for being guests on the podcast.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.